You're listening to the Coach's Journey podcast, exposing the struggles and celebrating the successes in the life of coaches who are action takers and creating authentic impact in today's world. Whether you're just starting out, expanding your reach, or exploding your impact, you're in the right place right now. Stay tuned and be sure to subscribe to this podcast. Now, here are your hosts of the Coach's Journey podcast.
Welcome to the Coach's Journey podcast. I'm excited to be back. I just was off because I had a child recently, so I'm back. I'm Daniel, and this is Faisal. You probably have been following us for some time, but if you haven't, we'd love to have you. Today's topic is a really, really important one for coaches. If you don't think it's an important topic, you definitely need to listen. It's active listening, and we're going to talk about the 3 critical components of active listening today. And Faisal, why don't we start with why this is an important topic? Why is this such a critical topic for coaches?
What?
I said, why is this such a... That's funny. Good job. I didn't even get it. I know you were listening. Why do we pick this topic today, Faisal? Let's tell them.
So I think this is one of the foundational areas of coaching. If you cannot be an active listener or a deep listener, as Rich Lidman might say, then it's very hard to be in a coaching session. And it's actually incredibly much more difficult than you think before you do coaching or before you get into doing coaching consistently. And even to this day, after almost 10 years of doing this, I still feel challenged at times, especially in those days where you're not at your best, when lots happening in your life, and you know that you need to just show up for that client or for the group of clients. And if you don't know how to show up there with full presence, you don't know how to show up there to support the client, and you're stuck with your own thoughts, your own challenges, you don't know how to process your own energy, more than likely, the client feels it on the other side. And what does that affect? That affects whether or not that client stays with you. First of all, how they feel in that session, not cared for, not supported. You brought a bunch of your own stuff into it. And longer term, not getting referrals, not getting clients. And if this continues long enough, you'll probably start seeing your clientele drop and your reputation along with it as a coach. So what's on the line? Your whole
everything
as a coach, your whole identity as a coach, your business, everything is on the line when it comes to just this one critical component of the coaching process, which is active listening.
Yeah, I don't know any coach that's listening to this who doesn't want to improve the quality of the coaching experience for their clients, right? So that's what we're here to talk about today, active listening, because that's like probably one of the best ways you can improve the quality of your coaching is get better at active listening. And so if you can think of how you found this podcast today, maybe somebody shared it with you or you personally found it on social media or something like that. The only way we can provide this valuable content to people is by word of mouth. So if you ask, all we ask is that you pay it forward to another coach that you know, because everyone needs positive growth. We coaches can do together much more than we can alone. So please do share it. And we will be getting started here.
Awesome.
All right.
And before we get started, actually, one last thing. Those who are listening on Facebook Live, we do have a masterclass coming up on the sales process, client journey process. And if you don't have that process clarified for you, you are probably struggling to get clients or you're struggling to get consistent clients. So make sure you show up to our masterclass, which is on March 4th at 12 p.m. Eastern. Just type #sales and we'll give you access to that. If you're listening to this outside of Facebook, reach out to us. We'll give you access to it. Even if you're outside, you just will need to join our group, and that's it. But let's jump in.
All right. So let's talk about we got 3 components, right? So let's talk about the first one. And you might automatically include this, but I want to make sure we explicitly state it as one of our items, which is presence. And I want to spend a little time talking about what presence means with you, Faisal, because I feel we probably have slightly different perspectives on that. But like presence, it's like such an important part of active listening, even though when we think about active listening, we're not actually always thinking immediately, oh, your presence. But that's like a foundational piece of active listening, isn't it?
It is. And the way I look at presence is that I look at it as energy. And sometimes people get confused focus with presence. I don't look at it like that. I used to be myself confused with the two. But focus might be an aspect of presence, but presence in itself I look at it as energy. And the way I look at it, even when I'm talking to you, is that if I'm present fully, I'm literally encompassing you within this energetic container around you and around myself. So you actually literally feel it like a hug or like a safe container to be in. And I think coaching sessions are a container in themselves. And I think this is why people say it. But the starting point of that is actually both sides feeling it, but it starts from you, is that you need to feel that energy around your client. So I'm literally holding my client energetically with me as we go through this session. So that to me is presence.
I love that. I love that. And part of presence, so energy is actually almost a better word for presence, but you can have terrible energy and you can have terrible presence too. And so like to me, like the presence, yes, it's an energetic thing. It's, are we feeling each other in the session? Like, or more specifically as a coach, is the client feeling that presence? So, but I would also go as far as say the presence starts before the session, before you even get into your session with your client. Like you're going to be present in your session, but it starts before the session, not only with like your preparation, but your intention around that and the energy that you brought into your session from what happened right before the session and even what happened yesterday before the session and how you slept. There's all kinds of things that feed into that. So you can optimize all these different levels of presence and intention to be present as part of like establishing that presence in your session.
Yeah, for sure. So as soon as you said that, it triggered my intentions for coaching sessions, which is I have 3 words: serve, energy, challenge. I've been saying it for a long time. So as soon as right before I go into this, first of all, there's preparation involved. I think energetic preparation is much better. Your physicality, your energy, just grounding yourself a little bit more, and of course doing other preparations for the client besides that. So if I literally had 5 minutes, I would just energetically prepare myself and set my intention, which is serve, energy, challenge. And interestingly, I found myself saying that throughout. When my thoughts go in different direction, I would say serve, or if I see myself getting caught up, and it happens a lot in sessions where you find yourself in a space, it's like, why am I asking this question? Why am I talking? Why am I going in this direction? And it's split-second decisions, but that intention keeps pulling me back. But so part of my intention is energy, which energy to me is presence is a huge part of that. It's not always, oh, I want to be energetic. It's actually a lot of times it's I want to be fully there so they can feel that I'm there. And I might be the only one in their life who is giving them that presence. Just that is probably more valuable than most coaches think.
I want to add to that, because when you can practice being present in your coaching sessions, the benefit that you get in your whole life is you get more present with other people. And I actually feel like I practice being present in my life with my family members, with my friends, and that helps me be more present in my coaching sessions. So if your life is a presence practice, if you intend to be present, if you bring that energy to your whole life, not just your clients, but also to your clients, you're going to raise your entire level of energy and presence in your life. And then that's the new baseline. So your clients are going to feel that automatically. And then you have practices on top of that. What's the edge of presence for you? Like what's the next thing that you're working on for presence for you, right? And so as an example, for me, I know like my edge of presence is being a lot more intentional with setting intentions before I go into interactions with not just my clients, but with other people in my life. So if I'm getting ready for an interaction with somebody, like, do I take that even a few seconds to set my intention of how I'm going to show up with that person, and just make that automatic? Like, it's still not automatic with people outside my clientele, but I want that to become automatic. That's an edge I'm pushing in my life to raise that baseline of presence, which will help me in my coaching sessions as well. Because then what's the next edge? How can I end up being more and more and more of a present person?
Yeah, I love that. You actually reminded me of one of my clients who's in my group program. I actually like these kind of clients. He's very challenging. So he doesn't just take things, and he's very critical to what I share. And he kind of he takes it as that. I personally love it because I want to see what the result will be. And I've had 2 clients like that have been very like overly critical. Initially, it helped me dealt with my own insecurities. Like, okay, he's actually questioning the process, what I'm saying. One of the things he said, we were actually talking about presence in that group call, and I was talking about intentionality, exactly as you were saying, is that as you show up with more intention with your relationships, any part of whether it's with your family members, team members, business partners, whoever, makes you better at it, gives you better skill sets to be present in those times that really matter, versus you just doing that in those times and not being present. But his response to that was, and that was his challenge. He's like, but nobody does that. And it's like, I don't think that's practical. I don't think that works the way you're saying. And then we went deeper into it and asked them, are you talking about everybody? Are you talking about yourself? Or are you talking about what you ideally want to do? And I told them, like, you're right. Most people don't. That's why they don't have the life that they actually ideally want.
How
What do
many
you
people
want?
are present to you in your life, right? Like that's,
Yeah.
if you think most people don't do it, it's probably because they don't.
Yeah. And
But
also it's also a projection of his experience as well in that moment. And he's sharing that. And I don't need to be judgmental of that. I need to just ask. It's like,
it's good data, right? It's good data, right?
it is. I mean, almost everything that comes up in our life, in our coaching sessions, it's data for us to see what's happening, how we're showing up. I have a lot of feedback from my wife, my kids, where there are times where I'm not fully present. I'm not fully there. And I'm like, okay, I had the intention, but I lost track of it.
You're listening to the Coach's Journey podcast.